All right, you know what it is. It is Friday, but more importantly, Steelers got a game versus the Falcons, so you know we got to talk a little five-star matchups, baby. And the first one we're going to hit on are inside linebackers versus Cordell Patterson. Now, Cordell Patterson, man, is a very versatile playmaker. When you think about him historically, came in the league as a wide receiver. Has transitioned from wide receiver to elite return man, but then also since joining Atlanta has transitioned into this athlete that they play at running back. Last year was the first year really doing that, and he was a extremely good player to the point where they decided to bring him back this season, and now they're carving out an even more defined role for him as a running back. And he's one of those guys that can create mismatches because of his athletic ability, the size, and the speed that he plays with. But also, he does have a little bit of physicality as well. And when you're thinking about us on defense, in particular our inside linebackers, number one, we know Miles Jack dealing with some health stuff, right? Been limited, so we'll see obviously what that looks like on Sunday. But with Devin Bush and Robert Spillane, either way, they're all going to have their times facing this guy, whether it's him exclusively out the backfield as a running back, or when the Atlanta Falcons like to split him out and use him as a wide receiver as well, because they know that you're going to get him matched up on a linebacker. So those are some of the intricacies when you're talking about Cordell Patterson specifically, but this is one of those ones where he is the most critical part of that Falcons offense. You have to minimize his impact, and it's going to be on our inside linebackers to do that. So now it's time to talk about that second matchup, baby. And that is our good old front seven versus that Falcons rushing attack as a whole. Now, we just focused on Cordell Patterson because him as himself is a unicorn, right? And I ain't even talking about him as a return man. But when you're talking about the Falcons rushing attack now, that's where it gets a little bit intriguing. This is why the front seven for the Steelers defense comes into play and not just one particular person. The Falcons rushing attack is very similar to the Baltimore Ravens rushing attack. A lot of zone read, a lot of RPO, a lot of just shotgun, misdirection type plays. Some might even say college-esque. But the difference, in my opinion, is when you're looking at Baltimore and you're looking at the Falcons, Baltimore just has a lot more talent offensively in contrast to Atlanta. So when you watch Baltimore and their rushing attack, it's a lot more scary because it's a lot faster, it's a lot more dynamic. The Falcons is still good, it's very efficient, but it feels like it's missing something. For all my cookers out there, maybe gotta get a little spice or something, a little hot sauce on that thing or something. But either way, it's missing it, okay? And when you're talking about our front seven defensively, man, the thing that we've been showing, especially of late, is that we are good against this run. What we were able to do against Jonathan Taylor was impressive on Monday night. But we're going to have a similar performance because this is another one of those teams where when you stop the run and make them one-dimensional, their offense is bad. Really bad. But in contrast to that, when they're able to run the ball and get this rushing attack going, Marcus Mariota with some of his zone read stuff, and I don't know why teams haven't always accounted for him because he is definitely an athlete that is more than capable, and that's him even dating back to his time in Tennessee. But if you can make this Falcons offense one-dimensional, man, they struggle in a major way. So it's going to be important for our front seven to make sure we win that matchup against that Falcons rush attack. Now, time for the third matchup, and I'm super excited about this one because it contains the newly double-digit sack having son of a gun. I'm talking Alex Highsmith. Shout out to him versus Jake Matthews, the former first-round pick. Now, this is going to be a good one. Now, Jake has been a good player in this league, man. Been playing in this thing for since 2014, I think it was when he came out. And, yeah, he's still a good player, without a doubt. But he is slowing down. He is not the same player that was taken in the first round, 10 plus years ago. And I do feel like he is going to struggle in this matchup. Alex Highsmith has just been on a tear this year. It doesn't matter who you've lined up, the pedigree of them, age, size, it doesn't matter. He's the guy that has constantly won. Whether TJ's been out there or TJ has not been out there, he's the guy that has continued to answer that call. And I do feel like this is another one of those matchups where he is going to be very, very favored in this because of the speed, the bend that he has, the inside spin move. Those are the things that I feel like Jake Matthews will struggle with. Now, Jake is still a good player, and I wonder, and I don't anticipate it being this scenario where you're going to get just pass rush after pass rush because of how the Falcons offense is. The Falcons offense is designed to run the ball. They want to run some more, sprinkle a little bit of pass, but then keep running the ball. So when you're talking about that matchup, for Alex, it's not going to be a gross amount of opportunities to take advantage of this. So very similar to when we talked about, I think it was the Jets game earlier in the year. We said, man, we don't know how many one-on-ones he's going to get. We don't know how many opportunities he's going to get. But whenever he does, he has to capitalize. And he won, but he didn't finish. This particular week, not only when you win, but we need you to finish, especially versus Marcus Mariota, who does have the athletic ability to hurt you with his legs. All right, but now it is time for that fourth 5-star matchup. And I got to talk about our inside offensive linemen, in particular our guards, man. Kevin Dotson, James Daniels versus Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett, man, is a heck of a player. Big fan of his game. Terms of the effort he plays with, the technique, the productivity, checks a lot of boxes, right? And when you look at this Falcons pass rush, it's not a lot of productivity over there. Grady Jarrett, he's their leading pass rusher in terms of sack productivity, 5.5 sacks on the season. But even him, career-wise, he doesn't have a double-digit sack season. I think his best season was a 7.5, maybe 8 sacks. But this is one of those ones where when you pair what he's able to do from a pass rushing perspective with just some of the hiccups that we've experienced at times with Kevin Dotson and James Daniels in regards to their pass protection, it just makes this matchup a little bit intriguing. I do feel like they're still going to be able to compete and do a good job against Grady Jarrett and some of the other line movement things that we'll be doing to protect those guys, but this is one of those ones where we have to make sure we're buttoned up here because Grady Jarrett is capable of, making some plays. I don't classify him as a quote-unquote game wrecker where we're not going to be able to get a snap off and things like that. But in a game where I do anticipate it being a little bit tighter of a contest because of how efficient the Falcons are, a turnover that could hurt you. And if the turnover is caused because of a Grady Jarrett pass rush win, which we've seen in terms of some of the turnovers that we've experienced here in Pittsburgh have been based off of some of the pressure that has gotten to Kenny. Just don't want to experience that too much this week because, this Falcons team is not a team that is just going to line up and just beat you. But if you turn the ball over, if you are highly penalized, this is a team that is more than capable of beating the Steelers. So, Dotson, James Daniels, make sure y'all boys be buttoned up, baby. But now it's time for the fifth and final 5-star matchup. And we got to talk about the Steelers' rushing attack, baby. Yes, indeed. It's been cooking. Hit the highs on. I'm sorry. Hit the highs on it. All right, I'm back. All right. But the Steelers' rushing attack versus the Falcons' rush defense. This is very important this week. Falcons' rush defense, man, they struggle. They struggle, man. Some of it is personnel related. And some of that is due to the injuries that they've sustained. But when you look at them on defense, they just don't have the personnel that they're gonna line up in front of you and control the line of scrimmage. There's not a lot of matchups that they feel favored in or that I personally think they should be favored in when you're talking about their front seven or, the trenches element of this. And I think that is the area where we will have the most success. But it starts with our rushing attack. Now, we've been putting together some consistent games these past 3 weeks, but we got to keep that thing going. We've obviously had, multiple running backs be part of the success, whether it's been Najee Harris, Benny Snell, Jalen Warren, Anthony McFarland. It doesn't matter. All those guys have been able to have success because of how well the offensive line has been playing in the run game. So when you're talking about Steelers O-line and this front seven or this rushing attack versus this Falcons rush defense, that's where they have to win. They have to win in those trenches right there, man, because I do feel we match up well when you're talking about any of our running backs against some of their linebackers. I like those matchups, man. But if we're getting a healthy Najee, potentially, we know we got a Jalen Warren coming back healthy. I mean, I just think that makes it a lot more slanted in our favor because of how dynamic those players can be at times and just some of the things that they create in terms of mismatches. But we have to win right here, man. If we win and control this part of the game, man, where we're able to run this ball and take a lot of that pressure off of Kenny Pickett, I just feel like that sets us up extremely well for victory. But those are my 5-star matchups for this Steelers versus Falcons game come Sunday. So, you let me know your thoughts on the game, which matchups you think we need to be looking out for. But either way, I appreciate you for tuning in. And until next time, baby, peace.